Hi, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Another episode of Marine Riders Michiana podcast. First off, we do have a poker run coming up June 13th, so if you're in the area, we'd highly like you guys to come out and attend. We're going to be riding out to Nationals later that month, and we're going to take you guys along for the ride. And then some guys are going to Sturgis, so hopefully we'll get some of that in there. And October 3rd is our blowout party. So please mark those dates down on your calendar and come on by if you can. Today's guest is Kent Laudeman. Hi, sir. Thank you for coming on. He's a local guy here that's done a lot with the community with suicide prevention and awareness, and we were going to have him back for a second interview. This is the first one we've done like that. So we're going to talk today about where'd you grow up, how you got in the Army, and all those sorts of things. Your younger years, and then we'll come back about suicide prevention at a later date. So, Kent, first off, you born in Bremen?
Bremen, Indiana.
Bremen, Indiana. South of here about
25 miles.
25 miles. Small farm.
Grew up at a farm, small dairy farm. Got used to chores morning and night. Typical things you do. The thing I learned by graduation time from Bremen High School was I didn't want to stay on the farm.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. You have brothers and sisters?
I have two brothers, one younger, stayed on the farm but died by COVID. And then one older, a year and a half older, he had polio when I was 5 years old.
Oh.
And was up at the Shriners Hospital for a year and kind of impacted me in terms of I didn't get it. I was very thankful and probably acclimated me to inoculations and making sure I got shots for everything.
Sure, sure.
Which I was at least didn't have an adverse kind of reaction to. And it's an individual kind of thing. Okay.
So then, so we go to what, Bremen High School?
Bremen High School, graduated in 1961.
Okay, all right. Did you play any sports when you were?
I started out in basketball as a freshman, and then in the sophomore year, if you were going to play basketball, you had to do one other sport, and I chose cross country. But the cross country route was kind of like the bypass area north on 331, and you had to jump that damn ditch. It was a V ditch.
Yeah.
And I said, this just isn't for me. It's an out and back. You had to jump it twice. You couldn't clear it.
Right.
So you always went in. I said, nah. I said, cross country, I'm giving up. So therefore, I had to give up basketball.
Yeah.
But I've pursued basketball. I shoot free throws and threes to this day, and I'll challenge the best high school.
Is that right? That's cool.
Okay.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So I take it you were a pretty good student when you were in high school?
I was an average student, B student. Was in 4-H and FFA. In fact, I think for a long time I wanted to be a voc ag teacher. And Mr. Vernon was the voc ag teacher at that time. But at some point I learned you had to take organic chemistry, and I said, I don't think this is for me. So I ended up, when I left Bremen High School, I went to Indiana Central College in Indianapolis.
Okay.
For 2 years, and a classmate by the name of Richard Reidenbeck was my roommate, and that's probably why I went to Indiana Central as much as anything else.
Yeah.
Not a bad 2 years of college. Learned a little bit of Spanish, 1 year of Spanish, but had a physics teacher by the name of Dr. Kolichev. And Indiana Central is so small that they kind of put the beginning physics, the intermediate physics, and the engineering physics all in the same class.
Oh, boy.
So, So, thank goodness Dick Reidenbach pulled me through that class.
Yeah.
But I never had any more physics.
That one semester was enough, huh?
That was enough. There, I did try out college wrestling.
Okay.
But, and found out that I wasn't too bad, but it was going to take an awful lot of time. And my being kind of a B student, I had to spend more time as far as studies are concerned. So after 2 years, I had a fellow classmate by the name of Wasi Karpenko. He was a really good cross-country runner, and he went to Western Michigan. So he invited me up there.
Okay.
So after 2 years at Indiana Central College, I then took advantage of an opportunity and was Wasi's roommate for a couple of years at Western Michigan University.
The Broncos, huh?
The Broncos.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So so was Indiana Central? Was that like a junior college?
No, it was a 4-year
It was a
college.
4-year
It's
school?
now the University of Indianapolis.
Okay. So then you just transferred to
I
Western
just transferred
Michigan.
after 2 years.
Okay.
Kind of small. I wanted something a little bit bigger. I really appreciated their basketball court because you walked in at the top level and it was all dug into the ground.
Oh, it was one of those gyms. Very cool.
It was very, very enticing. I mean, I loved watching them play there and everything like that.
What was your major? I'm just curious.
When I started out, I don't think I had a major.
Yeah.
Like many college students,
Right.
You kind of stumbled the way through. And then for some reason, I focused on elementary education when I got to Western Michigan.
Okay.
And elementary education with 3 minors, psychology, science, and I don't know, social studies or something like that. I mean, you just had to pick up different ones. But my ultimate goal was to become a principal.
Okay.
And to do that, you had to endure teaching at least for a couple of years. But during my student teaching experience at Western, I was assigned to a low-income elementary school, 4th grade. And one day a kid came in with a dart in his back. And I said, hey, I'm not sure I can do this for 2 years.
Really? Yeah.
So I did graduate. That was student teaching. That was my final year. And it was interesting because I was doing that on crutches for that whole year.
Oh, your senior year?
My senior year. And the reason for that is after the junior year, part of the senior year, I worked for a road construction company out of Bremen. And they were putting up guardrail along the highway. And I was the person that ran the jackhammer. Actually, it's a big drop hammer. That set on a 3-point hitch behind a tractor.
Wow.
And pounded the I-beams into the side of the road for
the railings to
for
attach.
the railing. Okay. And one day, that top point on the 3-point hitch broke, and it broke backward onto me. It hit me in the shoulder, spun me out of the way, kind of, but caught my leg. I broke my tibia, my fibia, tore a tendon in my knee, and fractured an ankle.
That'll do it.
And that led me to then probably my poor experience with 4th grade student teaching on crutches. Okay. And that's going to show up a little bit later, and I'll share.
Yeah. You're going to hear about this. Yeah.
But that's kind of the undergraduate thing that I was doing. Of course, I got a medical exemption, deferment, during my senior year at WMU. Got my bachelor's degree, but said, I wasn't ready to go out in the world yet. I think I'll stay in college for a while. So I stayed in the graduate program in psychology and counseling services.
And this is still at Western Michigan?
This is at Western Michigan, the 5th year now.
Okay, so now you've got your bachelor's degree. We're working on master's program at this point. Okay.
Right. And took a couple of undergraduate courses that I hadn't really thought about, Accounting 1, Accounting 2, and Business Law. Well, Accounting 2 told me I didn't have the attention to detail because I'd go down the hall and talk to the teaching assistant when I couldn't find a penny difference. And that kind of told me that that's probably a little bit too much detail in terms of what I wanted to do with the rest of my life. Right? So the counseling, the psychology was there, etc. I had during that year pursuing the master's degree the following year an opportunity to be the education officer at the Fort Custer Air Force Station.
Fort Custer Air Force Station?
Yeah. It's a little station under NORAD that was at Fort Custer in Battle Creek, Michigan.
At Battle Creek, Michigan.
So I did that for about a year. I kind of liked it. Still had no inclination about going into the military, though.
Okay.
Finally, after 2 years and some undergraduate work, finished the master's degree in psychology and counseling. Said, I kind of think this education is pretty cool. Didn't have anything else to do yet,
Okay.
So I stayed for a 3rd year of graduate work in psychology and counseling. And at that time, I then had a graduate fellowship in alcohol studies.
All right.
And that took me out to Rutgers University for a summer of training in alcohol studies and treatment and so forth. I came back from there. I did an internship at the Kalamazoo State Hospital.
Okay.
Kind of working with an AA group, etc. Okay. Learned a great deal, and also taught teachers on substance abuse in terms of their teaching in the classroom and everything like that.
These are teachers for high school?
High school, elementary.
Really?
That needed to have at least a course as far as substance abuse, teaching of alcohol, prevention of alcohol abuse and misuse and so forth, okay? So that final year I did that, also did a thesis relative to alcohol. And that thesis was, my hypothesis was that if you were arrested on an alcohol-related offense, DUI, driving under the influence of alcohol, or maybe you were handicapped as far as driving, you got arrested for some reason. I said, I don't think you just get arrested for some reason. I didn't think you were in the wrong place at the wrong time or something like that. So I set up a group of those who were arrested in Kalamazoo County, young offenders, and another group that was arrested for anything other than alcohol.
Okay.
And a control group, not arrested on alcohol, DWI, DUI, anything like that, or arrested for anything. And what I discovered with the Parks Problem Drinking Survey and the MMPI, Minnesota Multi-Personality Inventory,
okay,
was that group that had been arrested was one showing inclination of the Parks Problem Drinking Scale that they had, based upon frequency and quantity, they were kind of destined down a road that they were going to maybe have a problem as far as alcohol is concerned. Okay. And lo and behold, my thesis proved that. But in order to finish the thesis, I had to go into the delayed entry program at the Armed Forces Entrance Examination Station in Detroit, Michigan. So I did that in May, but I needed 3 more months to complete the thesis.
Okay.
So I moved from Indianapolis, because I grew up in Indiana, to Detroit. That gave me a couple more months. And then by going into the delayed entry program, I agreed to go in September. That gave me a chance to finish the thesis. Lo and behold, my girlfriend, though, had to finish the thesis in terms of some final edits, typing, and everything like that. I mean, she was a godsend in doing that, because I would not have gotten it done.
Diane,
okay?
right?
Diane did that, okay? And we weren't married or anything like that, but wow, that was important. And that kind of got me through that 7th year and educational specialist, 60-hour graduate program, plus etc.
Okay.
So that kind of brings us up to WMU at this point, and now I'm destined for the service.
Yeah. Now I don't know. That was one thing that I had. So you had your bachelor's degree.
Bachelor's degree, master's degree,
and then you still had go in for the draft as an enlisted guy.
I checked around, and with all that education, my favorite at that time branch was the Air Force. Eyes weren't good enough for the Air Force, but apparently they weren't taking anybody into any kind of a direct commission either. Okay. So, I couldn't get into my branch of service. That kind of left me up to the draft board. And eventually the draft board found me. And I don't know if you remember that poster where Uncle Sam is pointing his finger and he says,
Uncle Sam wants you.
Yeah, I was on the other end of the finger.
Yeah. Right. Okay. So they weren't opening direct commissions. So you had to be, so then you go to Fort Dix?
Fort Dix. So as an enlisted person, I'm bound for 11 Bravo, infantry basic, and infantry advanced training at Fort Dix.
So this is time frame 68, 69, right?
So this is, I got in September 68, right.
Okay.
And I was there for basic training and AIT.
Okay.
At Fort Dix, okay? And I don't know if you've ever been to Fort Dix. I mean, it looks like all Quonset hut kind of buildings.
Oh, is it? No, I've never been to Fort Dix.
Mostly one story. I don't think there's a two-story one. But I remember the training range was always out this dang sandy road.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the sand was always churned up.
Oh, yeah.
You might as well have been running on the dunes or something like that, okay?
Right.
Everybody has a story about basic AIT.
Sure.
And so forth, right?
Yeah.
So my story on basic was I was in pretty good shape. Carrying what was the M1?
M1?
I don't know. It was heavy. I just remember
it was before the M16, right? You weren't carrying an M16.
This was before 16. 16 came in Vietnam for me.
Yeah.
So we were going to the range, one of several days going to the range. And this big guy, probably about your height, taller than I was, he was struggling like crazy. I said, okay, lean on me. That was a mistake.
Oh, no.
That was a mistake. I mean, he leaned on me the entire trip. I got out to the range and I barfed. I mean, I was exhausted. I was beat up, okay? And I vowed I'd never do that again. I'm going to carry my own, but I'm not going to carry somebody else's water and weight, okay?
Smart move.
So that's my basic story that I remember. I remember vividly trying to pick one foot up after the other foot and just carry up out to that range, okay?
Yeah.
That was brutal. The other story I have is an AIT. And I always loved inspections.
Yeah?
And the reason I loved inspections is because in college, I was a bootleg barber.
Okay.
And so I was in a dormitory that I had the opportunity to cut the dorm director's son's hair, which put me in good by doing that up on the second, third floor and so forth. So I would, in college, for spending money, give a haircut for $1 haircut. Probably about $25 a week, something like that. You know, decent spending money. So I took my my clippers with me and apron and schmuck and everything like that when I went in service. So whenever it was inspection time,
you were making money.
Yeah, I was making money.
Good deal. Smart man.
I mean, I had to get a second pair of clippers because the first one got so hot. I had to have the second one ready to go. And, you know, it wasn't slow haircuts in that time.
Yeah.
It was a buck and a closed buzz. Okay?
There you go. Easy money.
That's kind of my story for basic and AIT that I remember forever. Okay.
Good. So then where do we go from there?
Well, after AIT, I was bound to OCS.
So now the paperwork, it catches up. How does this go about?
So let me back up just a minute. When I went into the service and I went to the AFI station, I remember sitting on that exam bench, table, etc. And the good doc specialist says, Kent, you know, what do you want to do? And he says, well, you know, based upon this injury that I had when I was a junior going into senior year of college, I'm either not fit or I'm fit enough to go into OCS. And he says, Chuck, you're fit enough to go into OCS. I said, okay. So then after AIT, I was bound for engineer officer basic school candidate at Fort Belvoir, Virginia. And I got there and I had a couple of weeks to spare. So I was really working out, training hard, etc. But re-injured my right leg. That's where the broken tibia, fibula was, ankle, and
from that construction accident,
and the pulled tendon on the knee. And that then put me into a profile, pulleys, P-U-L-E-S, lower extremities, no walking, standing, running, jumping, etc. So that knocked me out of OCS.
Okay.
Well, then they had the infinite wisdom to send me down to Fort Gordon, Georgia, for auto-DIN training. Automatic Digital Message Training is what that stood for. Okay,
all the acronyms in the military.
Whatever, okay? And I don't know, that was 4 or 6 weeks, something like that. And the reason they did that is that, hey, you're a college student, you're kind of smart, and you can type like hell here. That was a key punch operation for messages
okay.
at that time, okay?
Yeah.
You didn't want to waste a whole lot of cards. You wanted to be as proficient as possible.
Sure.
But while I was there, about 100 yards away was the social work training for the Army. I didn't even know it existed.
Okay.
And I said, hey, can I transfer over there? And he said, nope, you're not going to do that. We need you. Mm-hmm. We need you right now as far as auto-dim message processing.
Okay.
So I was stuck there. I had another 2 to 4 week layover. And at that time, we as graduates were headed to Hawaii, and from Hawaii, we were headed into Vietnam. Mm-hmm. Well, Diane had joined me down there for that training. And while waiting for the first son, which was Robert, that put me into a hold basis. Mm-hmm. And so that kept me there a little bit longer than they intended, because she had driven down in a Cougar at that time. It was a Mustang with a long nose on it, if you remember right, okay? And they didn't want her going back as quickly after giving birth to Robert. So I got a couple more weeks there. Uh-huh. But while I was waiting, I had submitted all the paperwork and the recommendations and everything like that for a direct commission when I was in basic training at Fort Dix. Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, at the end of June, the beginning of July, that direct commission came through. Okay. So I went from being a specialist fourth class in the Army to being a second lieutenant in the Adjutant General Corps. Okay. At that time. Mm-hmm. Okay. That then led me to a change of station to Fort Benjamin Harrison. Okay. For Adjutant General training. Okay. And I don't know, that was 8 weeks or so back to the state of Indiana. That felt pretty good. That's back in Indiana. Okay. That felt pretty good. Diane didn't join me. She was staying with my mother at that time with the son and so forth. In Bremen? In Bremen. Okay. And I remember I was really physically fit at that time. Mm-hmm. And I was at the top of my class as far as the athletic, and it was the run, dodge, jump. I don't know, some kind of qualifying kind of thing with monkey bars and everything like that. Mm-hmm. Pull-ups, maybe? At that time. Yeah. Well, it was the hand over hand, down and back. Oh, okay. On the overhand monkey bars, okay? Yeah. Grenade toss, run, dodge, and jump. Uh-huh. I don't know. There was like 7 different events at that time is what I remember. Okay. This is before the APFT, the Army Physical Fitness Test, okay? Mm-hmm. So I did well in that. Actually, the top of the class. I had learned to push troops when I was in a holdover down at Fort Gordon, Georgia. So I was kind of doing that as far as a leader program in the officer basic course for the adjutant general course. Feeling real good about it. And we were then told that, hey, this entire class is going to Vietnam unless you want to re-up for an additional year, 3 years, of which you've got a chance to go to Germany. Yeah. I said, I might as well get this over. I've gone this far. Right. Right. So I didn't re-up for the additional year. No. Okay. Just about my entire class, though, that didn't re-up ended up in Vietnam. Mm-hmm. And they were either adjutant general in the headquarters or couriers. Well, couriers? Yeah, as far as the needs of the Army were as far as Vietnam was concerned. Sure, right? Sure. So out of Adjutant General School training, I was then given assignment for Armed Forces Entrance and Examination Station, AFES, Little Rock, Arkansas. Okay, yeah. And I was in the position of being the psychological examiner. Well, the psychology background, counseling, and everything like that kind of makes perfect sense, right? And I was, Diane and I were housed then in the Little Rock Air Force Post Station. I'm not sure. Station doesn't sound right, and post doesn't sound right. Little Rock Air Force, anyhow, is what it was. Okay, and I had an interesting experience there. One that I'll always remember to this day.
Okay.
And as the psychological examiner, we gave the ASVAB, Army Service Vocational Aptitude Battery Test, that really told you what, MOS that you were going to go into, right? And one day I gave this to an energetic young man that really wanted to be in the service, and he failed it. So then I had to give him a reading test, and he failed the reading test. And then I had to do an interview and ask him a little bit about his background, why he wanted to get into the service and everything like that. And he said, and I asked him, what was he doing? Well, he came from the Ozarks of Little Rock, Arkansas area, north of Little Rock.
Yes.
And he was a chicken catcher.
I know what you're talking about.
I said a chicken catcher. So I looked up the Dictionary of Occupational Titles, and sure enough, there was a title in there. I don't know, bird catcher, chicken catcher, something like that. And it described him perfectly. And he was always wearing gloves. I said, take off your gloves. I want to see your hands. He took off his gloves, and his hands were all scratched up. So basically what he was doing was catching chickens at night and putting them in those crates. And those crates you would see on the back of a 18-wheeler, stacked about 5-6 high, the whole length of the bed, etc. And we talked, and I said, sorry, son, I cannot allow the Army to draft you because of your reading skills, and I'm sorry, but you're going to be a detriment without reading to the NCOs, senior NCOs, and the junior lieutenants. And of course, he was heartbroken. He wanted to get into the Marines.
The chicken catcher, huh?
Chicken catcher wanted to get into the Marines. So he went down and he talked to the good Marine captain. And the good Marine captain comes up to me, and we got a halfway door, split door, entrance to the testing area, etc. I was standing on the side. He's standing on the other side. He's a Vietnam vet. Big guy. Big guy, okay? And he says, why aren't you admitting my recruit? And I say, well, he failed the ASVAB. He failed the reading test. And he's really going to be a detriment as far as NCOs, senior NCOs, and junior lieutenants. And he says, you will admit him into the Marine Corps. I said, I will not admit him in the Marine Corps. He locked my heels. I still said, I cannot admit him into the Marine Corps. Well, he went downstairs. He didn't give me any more grief. But for that, I got an ARCOM for saying what I did.
What's an ARCOM?
An ARCOM, Army Commendation Medal.
Okay.
My first medal I got, okay? And come to find out after that, several years after that, McNamara was the Secretary of Defense at that time. And he had this idea of drafting 100,000 low education, low background, etc. And he claimed that we could make them trigger pullers by repetitive kind of training, etc. And it became known as McNamara's 100,000. And that's because the draft wasn't doing well, our numbers weren't high enough, etc. They became known as Category 4 soldiers.
Okay.
And
cannon fodder.
Yep. Senior NCOs recognized the Category 4 because it took a great deal of leadership. I mean, if the person can't read, I mean, you're in real trouble as far as an NCO is concerned. Even back at that time, even more trouble now with technology, okay? But back then, that was a real detriment as far as having a category person in the squad or the platoon or wherever it might be.
Yeah. One thing real quick. My family is from the Ozarks on my father's side, okay? And so I know all about the Ozarks, and I know all about, so I was down there maybe 10 years ago, in between some jobs and in between girlfriends, and my uncle was an executive for Tyson Foods, a chicken company. And so they still have chicken catchers in the Ozarks, by the way, to this day. Because I wanted to be a chicken catcher until my uncle told me, Chuck, you do not want to be a chicken catcher. It's nasty, hard work. You're bent over. And they run through a chicken house with their fingers like this so they can catch as many chickens as they can at one time and turn them upside down, and then they put them in cages. So when you bring this up about chicken catchers, it's kind of close to my heart. Okay. But I digress. Let's continue on with our story here. Chicken catchers in Arkansas. That's some funny stuff. Robert, if you watch this, that's for you, buddy.
That's a small world.
It's a small world. So, okay, so you're down in Arkansas and in Little Rock. And did that kid ever get in, or did he just he got denied? He got denied. Probably a chicken catcher supervisor now.
He had the attitude, he had the enthusiasm to be a Marine, but he was going to be a detriment.
Yeah,
he was going to be hard on some NCO, senior NCO.
You know, and when you talked about them coming in, when I was in back in the 80s, and we had an E6. And when we'd have platoon formations in the morning, he would have somebody else come up and read off of the sheet all the instructions for the day because he could not read.
Oh, dear.
You know what I mean? But he had like 18 years in, you know. So, yeah, I've seen. I was wondering when you said that.
So he probably passed the ASVAB, though, but somehow he couldn't read. How did he take the ASVAB?
I have no idea. I have no idea how he got. We were all, you know, dumbfounded. We were like, how'd this guy get in? And he can't read. He can't read the minutes.
Was he a good leader, though?
Yeah. You know, hard worker, all those kind of things.
Given all the Marine and Army regulations and everything like that.
Hey, come here. You read this out. Yeah. So, interesting, man. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but after, wow. So where'd you go from there? What'd you do?
Well, from there, I got orders for Vietnam.
Okay.
So after about a year down in Little Rock, probably the most memorable outside of having my heels locked by the good Captain Marines. I was also a survivor assistance officer. That was my first assignment in that category.
What does that mean?
It means some service member has died in the service. In fact, this one was a sergeant that died in a motorcycle accident.
Okay.
And now you became the officer rep to work with the family to make sure that they got all their benefits, help, etc. In the period that they're grieving and post that period, etc. Okay. And back to my Cougar. I had my Cougar, dress blues. I went out to the house. This was someplace north of Little Rock. But I pulled up, and it was literally a one-room house. An African-American family. And I said, boy, how stupid is this choice, sending a white lieutenant in dress blues out to try to share grief in terms of a black family is concerned, okay? And I was really sensitized to that situation. We got through it. And we got done, and the family got as many services as I possibly could. But just deep sorrow, deep regret, deep grief for that family, the little that they had, and everything like that. Okay?
Sure.
So I understand survival assistance officer really well from that first experience. Okay?
Sure, I bet.
But that's what happens. I mean, sometimes you remember movies. Somebody's going to deliver a telegram right to the home. Well, at that time, it was generally an officer, a junior officer, that was going to the family to help them out and deliver the news at the same time.
And that was you.
That was me.
Wow.
That was me.
That's an honorable duty there, man. Whew. Yeah. So
from there, I'm headed to Vietnam. I'm a lone person going in. I don't go into the squad or any unit or organization like that. Individual replacement.
So did you fly over there commercial?
I was on a commercial plane that they probably got out of the desert. They resurrected for delivery and return purposes. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
I mean it kind of flew, but you could tell it wasn't the most recent kind of vintage as far as flying craft is concerned. So I land at Tan Son Nhut, which is in Saigon, and I go to Long Binh, which is the major base, army base next to Tan Son Nhut. And I in process there, and I'm assigned to the 1st Signal Brigade as an adjutant at the headquarters, and located in a small, I don't know what I would call it. It was actually a private residence of about 6 big buildings that had been rented by the Army.
Okay.
For the 1st Signal Brigade headquarters. And the mission of the 1st Signal Brigade was the long line communication in and out of Vietnam. So they had billboard antennas to do this. Okay. And the billboard antennas were situated throughout Vietnam. Because it could be a general officer making a call out of I Corps, 2nd Corps, 3rd Corps, where we're at, or even down the Delta on 4th Corps. Okay. And we had individuals that had to maintain those particular communication sites scattered throughout Vietnam.
You call them billboard antennas?
It's the size of a billboard. It was literally the size of a billboard.
And this is how comms got passed from one location?
No, from Vietnam out back to the U.S.,
oh, wow.
into Vietnam, etc. I mean, hey, we didn't have cell phones at that time.
Right.
When I called home to Diane, I had to use, what do they call it? Where you say over? You have ham radio operators, what they were.
Okay.
So I called once out of Vietnam. Otherwise, it was snail mail out of Vietnam. Okay. And it probably went through about 4 or 5 ham operators till it got back to Indiana. And you really didn't say a whole lot personal, because when you finished, you said over. Everybody threw their switch so that, excuse me, Diane could then say something, and she would say over so that I could say something again. Okay?
Right.
So commo was really different at that time.
I bet.
And my job at the headquarters was, I was very fortunate, 3 Corps. We were probably about 20 miles from the Iron Triangle, about 20 miles from the Parrot's Beak, and that's where Laos came into Vietnam. And I didn't see a whole lot of combat, but we could hear the B-52s dropping bombs on the Parrot's Beak almost every night. And that's because they had an underground system like you would not believe.
Sure.
Okay?
Sure.
And they were trying to root them out and everything like that.
Yeah.
Okay? So it was relatively quiet time. I got down to Vung Tau. That was kind of my first experience where I had a congressional investigation come into me that I had to handle. And it was on a veteran who had died by suicide. So I had to do the congressional investigation, explain everything to the congressperson on how the individual had died other than by combat. It was accompanied by the commander's letter and so forth, but that was probably the first suicide that I was ever introduced to, was a veteran death by suicide in Vietnam.
In country in Vietnam.
Yeah. Managed to survive. I don't have a whole lot of stories that I talk about or I want to talk about. Came home and started to look for a job. I mean, you couldn't look for a job while you're over there.
What was that ride like?
The communication wasn't there to start with. I mean,
sure.
You could maybe mail something as a resume, but at that time, you didn't want to put on your resume that you were in Vietnam.
Right.
Because the hawks and the doves back here, it was just an ugly kind of time.
Yeah.
Disrespectful as far as all veterans are concerned and so forth, okay? So it kind of came back to that environment. and had to look for a job. Needed to look for a job because by that time I had two sons because another son was born while I was in Vietnam. Okay. That's an interesting story too. Scott was born when I was in Vietnam. I got notified by the Red Cross that you have a son. That's how it worked at that time. Okay.
Okay.
And by this time, my wife Diane was up in Garden City with her family. So she gave birth to Scott in the hospital in Garden City. And who went to the hospital? Well, Jerry, her older brother. Mm-hmm. And Jerry was absolutely against the service and was a conscientious objector. He served in Nepal and was back with the Peace Corps.
Okay.
Which I've come to respect with a great deal of admiration. Okay. Mm-hmm. He was about 6'5", and you can imagine how he fit in with the Nepalese. Okay, we're very short people. Mm-hmm. But anyways, he's sitting in the room with Diane after Scott was born, and the nurse says, "Is this your husband?" And Diane then had to kind of explain, "Well, I've got my spouse, my husband, who's in the service, and this is my brother, who's a conscientious objector." Okay, and I'm sitting right in the middle of these two. Okay, and she talks about having to understand both sides when talking with the family and everything like that. Okay, but that's just kind of an interesting sidebar that happens to people that are serving and different kinds of things they get into and so on. So, anyways, back to the Bremen, Indiana. I had two jobs offered to me. One was by Dr. Eldon Ruff, who was the chairman of the Division of Education at IUSB.
Okay.
And the other one was going to be at Battle Creek VA Hospital. Yeah, I was kind of leery of the government and everything else at that time, coming back like most people. Mm-hmm. So I took the job at IUSB.
Now, at this time, are you still in?
I'm completely out.
You're completely out.
I like most people, I came back, I put my uniform in the closet, never intending to see it again, etc.
Okay.
But hey, education people don't get paid a whole lot, so I said I need an extra job here.
Right.
So I found a job as an instructor over at the Kingsbury in LaPorte, Indiana. Mm-hmm. And I don't remember what the number of the unit was anymore, but hey, they see you got an education background, you can probably teach. We're going to make you an instructor as far as training other people how to be teachers and instructors, etc. Okay, and become better leaders. Mm-hmm. So I was out of the service about a year, got into that, did that for a year, and then from there I transferred to the 415th Civil Affairs Company in Kalamazoo, Michigan.
Okay, so now you're back in on the reserve status?
I'm back in the reserves at Kingsbury. Okay. So I had a year out, bad year. Actually, I had 29 years, but 28 viable years because of that one bad year there. 1 year at Kingsbury, and then the next year it's 415th Civil Affairs Company out of Kalamazoo, Michigan.
So you're back up in Kalamazoo.
So I'm in Kalamazoo, living in South Bend, working at IUSB, Reserve Centers in Kalamazoo.
Gotcha. Okay. Picked right back up almost where you left off before you went in.
Kind of, but not as a signal officer, civil affairs.
Right.
That was really my niche because civil affairs is the liaison between the Army and the host nation.
Oh, okay.
And kind of a counselor, psychology kind of role, diplomat, etc. I said, whoa, this is where I belong. Okay. And it fit with my background, my demeanor, and everything like that. Okay.
Yeah.
So I really homesteaded there from almost 1972 to 1997.
Yeah.
Whoops, 1990.
Up
1972 to 1990, okay? Mm-hmm. Now, while I was there, the 415th was attached to the 21st TACOM, Theater Area Army Command, located in Kaiserslautern, Germany. Cold War is running hot and heavy at this time. Mm-hmm. So, in terms of civil affairs, there's the 96 CA Battalion out of Fort Bragg. but 4 platoons to cover the whole world. So the 96th was there. We were supporting the 21st out of Kaiserslautern. And I remember 8 annual training exercises where we went over to Europe. The first was in Germany. The second was in Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
The third or so was in Belgium. And then like the last 3 or 4 were back in Germany. And our mission was to locate KEGI sites, concentrated equipment sites in Germany, where we had located all kinds of armor, trucks, etc., for ready deployment if the Russians ever came through the Fulda Gap. And that was our mission, was to locate those sites, lay out the routes, and then do the backwards of that. Okay, refugees are going to come down this route, or the military is going to come up this route. How do we deconflict that, get them into refugee kind of sites and everything like that? That was our mission. It was a planning kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So 8 trips to Germany was a part of that. In 1980, before that, we were to Fort McCoy for 2 weeks of annual training. And this was during the Cuban boat lift.
Where's Fort McCoy at?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin. Okay.
So 2 weeks in Wisconsin working with refugees, those who came out of Cuba.
Mm-hmm.
And we were one of 3 sites at that time. And we were running the camp for 2 weeks for the Cuban refugees.
Okay.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Could have been family members, could have been refugees as we know them, could be bad people in that because Cuba was dumping out some of their criminals, etc. at that particular time.
Right.
So sorting through all of that as far as mixed in with any kind of refugee population that you.
So the Cuban refugees were brought into Miami, and then from there.
So about 1,500 boats. They came into Miami. From Miami, then some of them, about a third of them, came up to Fort McCoy in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
Cold.
Yeah. Yeah. Man.
So
I hope it wasn't in the
and the community didn't want them there.
Oh, gosh.
They didn't necessarily want to be there. The only way you got them out of there is to marry them up, kind of do something with families that wanted to take them in, get them acclimated in the community, get them a job while they're being housed at that particular guest kind of facility, etc. Okay?
Sure.
So that was 2 weeks of interesting training at Fort McCoy, Wisconsin.
I bet. Yeah.
Okay. So that's kind of what happened at 415th. I went in as a captain. I left as a commander, 3 years of command, lieutenant colonel. From there, went down to Indianapolis, and that was the 21st to ACOM, Theater Army Area Command, CONUS augmentation, because they fell in on if the balloon went up on TACOM at Kaiserslautern.
Okay.
So they were the backfill for Kaiserslautern.
Okay.
So I think I went down there in November and did the interview of 1990. And then I got back to work, and about 3 days later I got a call, and they said, oh, by the way, the unit's being activated to go to Desert Shield, Desert Storm.
Here we go. Now you're back on active duty.
And then I said, well, is everybody that did the interview going, which would be the commander, deputy commander, and assistant chief of staff for all the different divisions, logistics, etc. Mine was host nation support.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And they said, yes, they're all in. I said, okay, I'm in.
Mm-hmm.
So that started December, getting ready for deployment. We then left for Saudi Arabia about a week before Christmas. During that week, we kind of got some briefings, training around the Daharan area. And Christmas Day, then I learned that I was going to go forward probably about 8 hours up towards the border with Kuwait, Iraq, and Saudi Arabia on the day after Christmas.
Okay.
And left on the 26th of December to go to King Khalid Military City.
King Khalid military city. Is this in Kuwait?
Nope, this is in northern Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia.
Now, the unique thing about this was a complex that at one time had the second largest cement plant in the world.
Okay.
That built this brigade-sized complex.
Really?
I mean, it was complete with 3-4-story quarters, significant motor pools. It had 8 6-inch wells, because there was water in an aquifer down 2,000 feet in the desert. I mean, this is a huge complex.
Sure.
It was called the Emerald City because it had an emerald fountain in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the day after Christmas, Colonel Bowerly and myself and a team of about 6 people went north to KKMC.
What's
as
that?
KKMC, King Khalid Military City.
Oh, okay.
And we were the host nation reps for the, at that time it became the 22nd SUPCOM, 22nd Support Command.
Okay.
And it was renamed from the 21st to the 22nd. And our job as a liaison between the Saudis and the U.S. Army was to get everything that they needed. Now, that could be a piece of ground for firearm training, could be a piece of ground for a tactical operations center, could be a piece of ground just for navigation. I mean, we were really guests in Saudi Arabia. So anything that we did, if it was a building, if it was a facility, if it was utilities, if it was fuel, came through us. And we had to submit that request in Arabic, and we got an answer back in Arabic. So one of the good things that happened to me was I had a captain that was in the unit that spoke Arabic.
Yes.
He was a part of my team.
Nice. Yeah.
But at the time, we had the 7th Corps coming in from Europe.
Okay.
And we had an Egyptian HET battalion, heavy equipment transportation battalion, that could call, that 18-wheelers that could haul the M1A1s, M118s, etc.
Tanks.
Yeah. Coming out of Dhahran. It was an 8-hour run. So we had General Pergonis managed to get the Egyptian HET battalion because they had deployed all of their tanks and they were now resting, setting, waiting for another mission. So he took my good captain that could speak Arabic and be on this convoy with the Egyptian haulers and drivers to make sure they got from A to B and then B back to A, had a down day for maintenance, and then they made the trip again. 7th Corps. I mean, that's a lot of equipment to haul.
Yeah.
So he took my translator.
Oh, no.
And I said, oh, shucks, what am I going to do now? We also got GOG and GOJ Jeeps in. Government of Germany, Government of Japan. Like, I don't know, 100 Jeeps each to support the effort from those 2 countries. And 22nd SUPCOM got a bunch of those. And I got a few of those. So I traded one for a transportation company commander that needed that kind of transportation. Okay. He didn't want a Humvee or Deuce and a half, is what it amounted to. And he had a person, a sergeant, that could speak and write Arabic. It was the best trade I ever made in my life.
Yeah.
And I was back in business again.
You were back in business, huh? So you traded
story.
a Jeep for a translator?
I did. I kept that translator the whole time I was there then, okay?
Yeah, adapt and overcome. There you go, man.
I mean, he was like my battle buddy. I mean, that was different. I mean, you're at a Saudi headquarters commanded by a brigadier general, a major general. I worked mostly with the logistics person, which was General Shahari, BG type. And the personnel person was Brigadier General Mohammed Abduman. And there's a lot of stories there Maybe I'll go into one or so. We'll see what we have time-wise,
Mhm.
okay? But yeah, you had to work around 5 prayer sessions every day.
Mm-hmm.
I had to work around the religious police that didn't really like to see our female truck drivers in T-shirts, which was a no-no, and got me all kinds of arguments. Or, excuse me, there was a 8-story hospital at KKMC.
Okay.
And the medical units, yeah, they were camped out back in tents, but they like to do sunbathing. That was a no-go too, okay? I mean, the nurses found themselves out there. You know, they were just relaxing when they weren't working, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But it always got the religious piece involved with me in some kind of way and so forth, all right?
Yeah.
I mean, that was the little sidebars we were doing as we were trying to get the major things.
Sure, the cultural differences were enormous.
Oh, yes. Absolutely, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So one day, Pagonis and Major General Pagonis got promoted to Lieutenant General Pagonis because the Corps commanders were Lieutenant General 3-star types. And he didn't want to get beat up. So the overall commander in Desert Shield, Desert Storm promoted him to a 3-star so he could compete and not get overridden by the Corps commanders, okay? But one day Pagonis comes in, he says, you know, a lot of them we've really done good. We've got the Egyptian Hit Battalion, they're getting all the tanks for 7th Corps up here and everything like that. But we're still short of truck transportation. You know, the 2.5 type or the 8-ton kind of trucks. And he says, Laudeman, I want you to go talk to General Shahari because I think he's got some trucks. I said, okay. So I go over to the Saudi headquarters and I wait to see him. And I tell him what I was sent over here by General Pagonis, and he thinks you've got some trucks that maybe we could use. And he says, okay, come back tomorrow. So I came back the next day, and he gave me an envelope that had a wax seal on it. And he says, I want you to take this about 5 miles. Go out the Tap Line Road, turn east, go down the road about a mile or two, actually he said kilometers, and you'll see a tire on the side of the road. At that tire, you want to turn into the desert for about a click or so, and you'll come upon an encampment that has a number of trucks in it. And I want you to present this envelope to the captain there. I said, okay, sir, I can do that. So we head out into the desert. Well, obviously, we didn't find anything in the click of the desert, but we ran up on a Syrian unit because Syrians were an ally at that particular time. Believe it or not, okay? They said, nope, this is not the right unit. We think it's over this way. So we went over there, and it was another unit of some sort. Nope, they didn't. But I do think it's down this way.
Oh, boy. So
they sent us over there, and finally we came upon an area that had a little house about the size of half of this room.
Okay.
And it had concertina wire on the outside. And 2 Saudi Jeeps parked outside the wire. Said, okay, this looks like might be the right place. We go in, and sure enough, the good captain's there, and there was a basement under this building, and he was watching TV. And you only get 2 channels at that time. It's either a cartoon channel or the religious channel. He was watching the cartoon channel. I gave him the envelope. He says, 800 trucks, huh? He says, okay, follow me. And we went another 2 clicks into the desert. And there, bermed up with sand, all around it was 800 trucks.
Wow.
Okay. I mean, most of them were straight trucks. I think there was a couple low boys in there. Nothing heavy, any sort. No 18-wheelers that were boxed in, 40-foot container kind of trucks or anything like that. So, and some of them came with their own drivers, third country drivers.
These are like deuce and a halves.
No, this would be like deuce and a half. Actually, they were circus trucks. They were all painted up and everything like that. I don't know. We called them circus trucks, okay? But it was basically an 8-ton truck with sides and a top line. Okay? So and some came with drivers. Otherwise, the next day we brought out a couple of transportation companies with drivers. They brought the trucks all back. But this one came with its own drivers.
Okay.
Transportation company, about 120 strong, circus trucks, own drivers. And I gave them to a transportation company commander. And the commander went out and got them. And he was starting to use them. I mean, you use them for ammunition, for water, MREs, mail, that kind of stuff, okay? And one day he caught up with me and he says, Laudeman, don't you ever give me any more trucks like that. The drivers, they own their own trucks. All those trucks were under contract at that time by the Saudi government. So they were just loaned under contract to us. And this happened to be with a company that had their own drivers, and they owned their own trucks in country.
Oh.
Okay. Well, one day they got so fed up that they didn't get enough oil to change. They just all pulled their plugs and drained it onto the sand. Good captain couldn't do anything until he got some oil to get them moving again.
Right.
And he couldn't feed them MREs because pork was in MREs.
Oh, geez.
So he had to sort through all the MREs because he had to provide food for them. Food, water, oil for their trucks, fuel we got for them.
Which MREs did not have pork in them. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's the cultural kinds of things that we got into. Okay. I diverted there, seriously.
Yeah, that was great. That was great.
There's a lot of stories I could send you sometime, okay?
Okay, yeah, sure, man.
All right, where are we? Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, Desert Storm.
I survived a year there, leave in June. Some of my squad still remain behind. We got up there at KKMC the day after Christmas. Air war starts in January. Ground war, 100 hours, starts then in February. That's over very quickly.
Sure.
We put up the tent and so forth for the signing of the peace agreement between Saddam's rep and Schwarzkopf.
So you put up the tent where they did the signing?
Yep.
Nice.
That's a logistics kind of item, and
absolutely.
that's now a cultural kind of item, because we got to work with Iraq and make sure that particular area is secure. We can use it. It's close to an airstrip, etc. Just the kind of thing we get into. Okay.
Sure.
So sign that. Come back. Now it's everybody getting out of Dodge. I mean, all the units want to leave right away after the 100-hour ground war, right? We had to set up wash racks at KKMC. Because all the equipment had to be, washed down, at least initially, with all the desert sand that was on it. I mean, this is the agricultural requirement to get those vehicles back into Europe or get them back into the U.S., loaded on ships, etc. So initial wash took place up at KKMC, and then when they got down to Dahran, they got a final wash, got an inspection by the agricultural department. So the word didn't end. Everybody wanted out of Dodge at the same time.
Oh, I bet.
It was chaos. It was chaos in a reverse.
So you used to spend a year in Saudi Arabia.
Just a little bit short of a year.
Just a little bit short of a year.
Yep, came back, went back to work for IUSB. And then this was 91, and got called up again in 95 for Operation Joint Endeavor. And this was a part of the 21st AECOM. I'm still a unit there in Indianapolis, falling under the 21st AECOM in Kaiserslautern, Germany. Kaiserslautern, Germany, the logistic unit for theater logistics, got the mission to support the peacekeeping mission for the U.S. force down in the old Yugoslav area. So basically our mission was December again, early December, flying over to Kaiserslautern, located pretty much in Kaiserslautern, Kleverkasern, etc., with housing there, working there, and we were working the lines of communication between Germany all the way down across the Sava River into the old Yugoslav, now Serbia area. Okay. At that time, I had an office of about 5 people, plus an Austrian liaison, plus a German liaison. Because if you're going to load equipment in Europe, you've got to get with the Germans as far as scheduling the trains, loading the trains, moving the trains, etc. If you're going to run a convoy from Germany down to, at that time, this side of the Sava River, you still had to do the same thing. You got to get the convoy clearance. You got to know when they're going to be there, what time they're going to be there, how many units are coming through, what the equipment is, and everything like that. So that brought in the Austrian liaison because we went through Austria to get down there. Okay, so a lot of that was being done, and as we got there, the Sava River is a large river, probably equal to the Hudson in terms of width. And at the end of December, they were putting in a platoon bridge. You know, they drop down the units and then you tie them all together, they hold them in place with tugboats, etc. And once it's done, they can now run M1s, M118s, supply trucks across and everything like that.
Pontoon bridges.
Pontoon bridges, right. Yeah. So the need at that time, I remember this need, was that, the bridge was working well, but they had mud galore on both sides of the Sava River. Well, you can imagine how it's going to get tore up, right?
Right.
So they said, hey, Laudeman, we need some help. See if you can get some Panzerplatten. And Panzerplatten is no more than tank, metal grated sheets that you could put down, kind of like I saw coming up on 12. They're working on the side of the road, so they got wood platforms that they put down. Well, this is Panzerplatten. This is
steel
sheets of steel, not solid,
right?
But holes in
like
graded. Okay,
graded, yeah.
So one of the things I got was eight 18-wheelers of Panzerplatten.
Wow.
And took it down there, and it's just not just use it at the edge of the river. It backs up a while too, okay? And the staging areas and everything like that on both sides of the river. Okay?
Turn into mud pits.
Yeah. So I've always said to this day, some poor potato farmer on this side and the other side is probably digging up that damn stuff because we never return what we get.
Yeah, it stays there.
So a lot of stories like that. That was a good year. And both Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and that was positive for me, whereas Vietnam was negative for me, psychologically speaking. Okay. Came back and worked at IUSB for another 2 years, and then went to United States Military Academy in West Point, New York.
Okay.
I was there 13 years.
So back up a bit. How did you get into West Point?
Well, that's interesting. 2 years before I went, I applied, and I put my military resume there, thinking that would probably help me, right? And no, didn't get the job. But then later learned that they had hired somebody inside West Point.
Okay.
Then it came open 2 years later. Okay. So, well, this is really strange. Well, that person had died by cancer. So I put my resume in again. I didn't know that at the time. I put my resume in again, and I didn't put any military on it this time. Went out there, and of course, once they found out that I had a military background, they said, hey, this guy's been to higher education. This guy knows how to work logistics. He knows how to work host nation. He's been a professor, a teacher down at IUSB. I mean, why wouldn't we take him?
Yeah.
So they did, okay? And I was fortunate to get in as an associate dean, left as a vice dean. They actually put me in charge of the library for the last year because the librarian left all of a sudden to go to Yale or something like that. And I learned a heck of a lot about the library that I never knew before.
Really?
And they've got a treasure store in the basement.
Oh, I bet.
What's been donated by alumni, etc. I mean, you can just spend years and years
For our viewers, where's West Point at?
West Point, New York, north of New York City, the 5 boroughs, about an hour.
About an hour north of
Really rural area.
Really rural.
As more rural than what we have here.
Really?
Yes. I mean, but it's not a soil like we have here. It's pretty much rock.
Uh-huh.
So when they built that new Jefferson Library, they had to blast out rock.
Oh, really?
Just to put the basement in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it's a different, it's mountainous.
Mm-hmm.
Mountainous. You know, we're talking maybe 1,500, 2,000 in height.
Yeah. The Catskills?
Nope, that's more north.
Okay.
But the Hudson River, sea level.
Okay.
So we're talking about 1,000, 2,000 above that in the vicinity as far as West Point is concerned.
Okay.
Very hard rock.
Yeah. And you were there 12, 13 years?
13 years.
That had to be like hollowed ground.
Oh, man. I mean, I never knew about it as a high school graduate. I probably wasn't smart enough to get in anyhow. But, wow, what a place. I mean, it actually it was the first fortress during the Revolutionary War.
Really?
So that history is there, okay?
Mm-hmm.
It's all built out of rock. It's all on the Hudson River. It's all scenic. I mean, the rugby field is grass as well as astro, and right across the road is the Hudson River. I mean, what kind of view can you have for that?
Yeah. Up
in the stadium, you look down across from the home, down across the visitor, and there's the Hudson right behind it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's just a beautiful place.
I bet.
It is, and it has about 4,000 to 4,500 cadets at any one year.
Really?
About 1,000 to 1,200 come in each year on our day. It's called Reception Day. They then get military training during the summer. They call it Beast Barracks. And then from there, they take the oath and they become a plebe or a freshman starting their first semester and year as far as West Point is concerned. Absolutely free until the start. Once you set foot in class the first day of your junior year, you've now accepted a commitment. Okay, so if you leave now, you're going to go down to enlisted status. You're going to stay for the rest of your tour. Yeah. So it's a 2-year scholarship if you can get in there. Start with, okay?
How long is their commitment once they graduate?
5 years.
They get a 5-year commitment.
So 4 years there, 5 years post. Graduating classes come back at 5-year intervals. And it's just absolutely amazing. I mean, it beats the heck out of Notre Dame. Anything that you see at Notre Dame. Yeah. I mean, they spend 9 years together as a family, okay? And they make a big production out of bringing about 5 classes back each year. So you're going to see somebody that's 80, 90, 100 years old coming back with a graduating class.
Nice.
If they can come back, okay? It's a great place.
Yeah.
28 athletic teams, Division I. Sometimes we don't do as well as Navy, and sometimes we beat Navy, okay? But it's go Army, beat Navy.
Go Navy, beat Army. I just have to say it. That's a great rivalry.
But yeah, what a game, right?
Yeah, it's
all of those players, with the exception of very few of them, okay, that might go to the NFL, or who was your big tall player that went to the NBA?
Oh,
I can't.
Roberts. What was his name?
No.
Yeah, I can't remember.
It'll come to me if I'm not thinking about it. Okay. Yeah. Very few though. Right. The rest have a 5-year commitment.
Sure.
Okay, when they leave. So 9 years. I mean, 4 years is you spend at the academy together, being beat up, harassed, everything like that, right? Oh, then another 5 years that you run across each other as far as assignments are concerned.
Sure, creates a strong brotherhood.
Man, camaraderie.
Yeah. That's good stuff right there.
Yeah. So at West Point, 13 years. I was the officer rep for Army women's basketball and Army women's volleyball.
Okay.
Absolutely love the female teams. I mean, I learned a lot, and I mean, the teamwork is different for females than it is for males. Okay, and that's what I learned. Now they're a little bit more catty too in talking. Okay, that I discount. But I really like the way they played. They forgot about a loss. They moved on, etc. Okay, so 13 years there, retired, came back to this area. Diane and I built a house on the St. Joe. It's the closest thing we could find to the Hudson.
Nice.
Up in Niles, Michigan. And my first job was to refinish the basement, 9-foot ceilings. So about a year's worth of work there after retiring from West Point. And then the Center for the Homeless got a hold of me, and they were starting the Robert Miller Veteran Center for Homeless Veterans.
Yes.
So I started that. That's when I really did the outreach to almost every veteran group that you can think of, to include Blue Star Mothers, which I'm an associate member. I can't be a regular member, but an associate member, okay? To this day, all right? Did that for, I don't know, to 2018. Retired, collected retirement again, and then became the director of the United Health Services Suicide Prevention Center.
A suicide prevention center, right?
Yep. Been doing that since.
You've been doing that since 2020.
Kind of brings us up to date now.
Yeah, yeah. And so we're gonna have Kent come back on for another episode where we're gonna talk specifically about suicide prevention and 22 a day. 22 a day is the number for veterans that commit suicide.
And Kathy Daly is going to
Daly
join us at the same time.
Kathy Daly will join us at that time. Okay. Great. Man, Kent, it's been an honor having you on here today and getting us all up to date. This man is a pillar in our community.
You need the stories? I don't.
Yeah, he is a pillar in our community as far as veterans.
This is
veterans services.
This is a great community, though. You know that?
Yeah.
I mean, there are just a ton of services that are around. I mean,
sure.
Marine Riders Michiana is one of many. I mean, VVA is probably the oldest, Vietnam Veterans of America. Then you got your American Legions, VFWs. Lest we forget, out of Benton Harbor.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, they're all doing great things.
Yeah. Trooptown is another thing we've been associated with.
Michiana Trooptown.
Miller's Vets is downtown South Bend. So, yeah. Thanks for being here. Thanks for joining us, folks, and we'll be back soon. Semper Fi, out.